In my last episode, I shared the exciting news that I'm launching a subscription offer. I shared with you why I was doing it and what the differences are between a subscription and a low ticket membership. And today I want to share with you more about how to refine your idea. Now, I did promise you that I was going to share with you more details about my specific topic this week, but I'm not quite ready yet. I am still working on a few things, and I wanted to make sure I had somewhere to send you when I share it with you in case it's of interest. So make sure you subscribe now so you can follow along as this journey for me unfolds. In the meantime, though, I do want to help you figure out how to make sure you've got a good idea because, of course, there are many different ways to deliver value to people. And to do it in a subscription style, you might want to look at a few things to make sure that it is a really good fit and it's going to be a very successful program. You definitely don't want to over deliver, and you want to make sure the format that you've chosen is going to be the right amount to still keep people captivated and excited to stay month after month. So the way to do this is by looking at what is the problem that you were solving for whom. And you know how I started this? I started out writing out my sales page. Now, usually I get people to take a step back from this, but I had a fairly clear idea and I had a good template for a sales page. So I started just brain dumping all of my ideas. And on a separate document, I had started brainstorming all the tools and the monthly deliverables that I was going to have inside it. And the two things are happening in tandem. And that's how I'm making sure that what's on the inside is going to match what's on the outside so that it becomes a really compelling offer and that it delivers on what I say it's going to be delivering on inside, and that that's a good match. And that process can be going on while other things are going on, and they can be going on simultaneously. It just makes sure that you have the right kind of content and enough content to really get this thing kicked off and going. Because it's one thing to have a really exciting idea and a big vision and to see, success on the way out there, but it's another thing to actually get it off the ground. And you want to make sure that you've got a few things ironed out that you feel really confident doing it. So you will pull the trigger on it and make it happen. So for me, I started writing out the sales page copy, and it was interesting because I ended up realizing that I wasn't absolutely sure on who the most ideal person was for this subscription. There is an avatar for it. It'll be high functioning women in their 40s and up. That's all I can share with you for now. But which phase of awareness they're at on their problem solution journey, I wasn't so clear on. Are they already aware that they have a problem and looking for solutions or open to solutions, or are they still not even sure that they are this person? So my sales page copy has to do one of two things. It has to help people who are aware realize that this is a great solution for them, or it has to even go back a step and help people who are maybe just subconsciously aware that they have a problem, realize that they have this problem, and then consider this as a solution. And those are different kinds of hooks that I could put at the beginning. And I really want to make sure I get that right. Now, there is time to figure this out. I could launch this and figure this out and play with two things. I could have different kinds of social posts or Facebook ads posts that do test these two out to see which one gets more traction. Are there more people in the, wow, I'm really suffering, but I haven't put a name on it yet? Or I'm suffering, I kind of know what it is about, and wow, this looks like it really could help me. So that's an interesting way to look at it because you want to make sure that you're kind of getting people at the right phase. A subscription sales page isn't going to be a long-winded buildup. You're not going to have the doors closed and then invite everyone to a challenge or a webinar or some really big launch kind of program where you start to introduce yourself and go through all what their potential problems could be, and then help link that to your solution and share more about you and your stories and the stories of other people. You're probably just going to be sending out social posts, emails, appearing on podcasts or guest interviews, or you name it. And that's how you're going to get people to your sales page. So you don't have a ton of time to bridge the gap between what they are thinking in their head, and your click the button to join. You've got that one sales page and maybe that social content or that pre-interview content that help them get to know a little bit better. So you do want to bring them to the page and not take too long to get to the cart because you're explaining things that they already know, or you need to add a little bit of that in advance so you can connect the dots to where they think they are and where they actually are. So that's why writing out your sales page can help force you to figure out your most ideal avatar. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not going to attract people who are slightly ahead of the journey that you're presenting, but are super curious for a bit more support, or are not quite on the journey, but they're fast thinkers and they are fast actors, and they can just tell from what you're offering that it's so close to where they need to be. So they'll buy and jump in anyway, because it's such a low ticket amount that they can literally try. But you do want to try to get to the most ideal one, because that one page is going to be doing a lot for you. And then, second of all, as I mentioned, you want to really start to brainstorm the content that's going to go in it. And I don't mean you have to have all the details ironed out. I mean, I think it's okay to have vague ideas about what you're actually specifically going to deliver every month. I know it's a few hours away of just putting my head down and going through them in detail. And I also know that there's a lot of things that will come up as I go through this journey that will help me put out better tools, better trainings, things that make more sense based on the feedback I get when I started. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but I think starting with a 24-month brain dump will help you come up with the types of topics that you could share, the types of things that make sense, the tools that you've seen work elsewhere, the kinds of problems that your ideal person has, so that you can come up with different things that you will give them over time. And you want to use these things as a test to make sure that your subscription is really tight, because you definitely don't want to have things coming out in monthly order, because some people are going to be signing up 6 months after the first people, and then there's going to be a whole bunch more people who sign up a year later. You're going to have to make sure that it doesn't require sequential learning, because then that just will simply not grow. It won't make sense for somebody to join a year from now. And your whole point of your subscription is you want it to get huge. You want it to be at maybe 50 members to 100 to 500 to 1,000 to more. That's how you're going to really build up a great audience and have this recurring revenue actually do a lot for your business. That's when you'll start getting in front of larger audiences, being able to bring in guests if you need to for content. That's when you can get on podcasts by letting people know that you've got this really awesome tool. That's definitely an asset you can use to build it even more, right? It's a lot of credibility. You start to become an expert when you have an audience of thousands. So you're going to want to make sure that that content can be bite-sized and simple and not overwhelming, but be able to feed your offer as you go and still serve that ideal avatar so it is relevant to everyone inside it. And the beautiful thing about this is, because it's bite-sized, people are not paying for massive transformation. So you can use those topics over and over again in different ways. So it's serving as reminders to people that they can still work on this. It's serving as updates to people who might have been a subscriber for 2 years, but they still need to remind themselves that do a little bit more work on it, and maybe they're at a different phase so they can apply it in a different way. I mean, just think about storylines. I know I'm using the movie example a lot, but we've all seen movies over and over again using the same storylines, and they're not brand new. They're predictable. We know what's going to happen next, and then even next and next after that. And then we're pretty sure we know how it's going to end. I know not every show is like that or movie, but there's a ton of storylines that we have been used for like decades over and over again. So don't worry about having everything to be so original. I just want you to do a brain dump of 24 ideas that you can then refine further. And as long as you launch with 6 to 12 concrete ideas, you have enough to get going and get it out into the world. So that's how I am working through refining my idea to make sure that when it launches, it hits the ground running, it's strong, It's compelling, it's viable, and I feel really good about it because that's going to be a critical part of its long-term success, which is going to make life so much better for me and all the subscribers. So that's what you can do to take your next step towards your subscription if you're thinking of building on this. And don't forget to subscribe so you can see the next few episodes and watch me build this thing out. Thanks for being here, and bye for now.